What is going on, guys? My name is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. You guys saw the thumbnail and here it is. Here is my Chupacabra that I put together. Now, this was the Tiger King Capra that I had been running for the past few months, and I ended up switching out the Capra cage for this billet aluminum aftermarket cage built by Super Shafty. The cage is called a Chupacapra. They are kind of hard to get a hold of and they aren't cheap, but look at this thing, man. Looks so freaking good. Let's take a look at the other side. Now, traditionally, these cars have carbon fiber panels that are made by Corrupt Carbon Works. However, those have been back ordered for a while and I just didn't want to wait anymore. So I made my own out of Lexan. So I also added my own paint job here and then slapped up all the normal stickers that I like to put on my cars. Yeah, let's get to it. Check out some new spots out here in Sand Hollow. Also got my dog Sydney with me. She's gonna be running around, I'm sure, right in front of the camera soon. So like I mentioned, this was my Tiger Capra, so these are all the same parts that we saw from that car. These are not new Vanquish axles. I wish I had the money to go and buy a bunch of those sets. They're pretty sweet. What do you know? The dog's in the way. Hey dog, I'm making a video here. What are you doing? Go on, get. This isn't the time for pets. You're interrupting the first scene. Okay, get out of the way. Go on. Sorry about that. So Vanquish axles, yeah, Vanquish axles, it's the same axial 3-gear transmission with dig unit on here as well, which I've been having a bit of issues with my dig unit engaging the way I want it to. So you might see me messing with endpoints, or you might see the car do some weird stuff, like after I do a dig on something vertical, the four-wheel drive might not want to engage as well as it normally used to. I'm trying to get that sorted. I'm not sure what's up with that. But trying some new climbs out here today, some new lines. Another change this car has seen that I don't know if I've ever pointed out yet is I did double overdrive in the front axle. So I got overdrive portal gears, and then I've got overdrive in the differential. So got about 20 to 25% overdrive coming out of that front end now. That used to be with the dig unit. I didn't think it was really necessary, but why not get the advantage of extra overdrive all the time in four-wheel drive? And then also be able to dig too. This bush is killing me on this climb here. So maybe this one isn't the climb for me. Let's go find some other spots. So out here in Sand Hollow, I like to come out to this patch of rocks. This is a real rock crawling trail called Chutes and Ladders. So this is kind of how I refer to it. I call this area Chutes and Ladders. This is one of the last remaining like rock spines out here that I haven't really explored. And I knew that I was putting the Chupacabra together. I kind of realized that this was the last spot that I hadn't messed with just about a week or two ago, and I've kind of been waiting to get the Chupa put back together, or the Capra put back together, because it's got rear steer and I know that it can navigate the hard lines. So this is kind of like the last unknown spots out here for me, and I thought it was fitting to bring out the new build out on some new terrain. So I hope you guys enjoy content. It might not be as epic as normal because I'm still just kind of exploring and seeing what's out here. So let's talk about the cage swap. If you guys were to pick one of these up and you had a Capra, what is it like to convert this into a Chupa? So honestly, extremely simple in certain ways. As far as getting the cage mounted, it is dead simple. You pull out your 4 screws for your shocks, you pull out your skid plate screws, you pull out your receiver, and you're ready to tear off the Capra cage. And then you just put this cage on, which has very similar geometry, I believe. The shock mounts aren't like wildly different, and they just mount to the inside of the chassis here. And so that gives you a more simplified chassis. Now, when you don't have panels on this and there's nothing else in the car, it looks completely naked. Like the whole rear section of this car is hollow, and then under the nose is completely hollow. So like it looks like there's so much more room than a Capra. Internally, where the body panels are and whatnot, that gets filled up quick with all the fun stuff like your transmission and my dig unit. But I have my receiver in there now because that's the hard part on these builds, is that you lose your battery mount and you lose your receiver mount. See, that's the two things you really got to figure out on these cars, is your receiver and your battery. So where are mine? My receiver is sitting underneath the driver. It's just kind of pinched between the door and the transmission, which is a little less than ideal. Whoops, going upside down. And then, perfect timing, there's my battery. It sits up in front of my transmission under the nose, sits right behind these panels right here. So that's what I've decided to do with my battery for now. My buddy Cameron at Desert RC hooked me up with a 3D printed battery tray, and I actually have it zip tied on the front dash bar that sits under the interior panel there. The interior is out of a gatekeeper, and then I had to clearance it a little bit for my axial 3-gear transmission from Vanquish. So I'm still working on this car. This is absolutely still a project, but you know me, I can't wait to get these things out on the rocks. So you will likely see changes in the future on this thing. Like, I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna do a fuel cell or something in the rear of the car, because it just looks super empty. But when you get into cars like this, you will run into weird headaches like those body panels like I mentioned. These are just kind of rare, and there's not a ton of them out there because they were expensive. I don't know if they're even currently manufacturing more or not. There is a Facebook group for these Chupacabras, and you can definitely check that out for more information on them. It's not super active, which kind of tells me there's not a ton of cars out there running these things. I think there's a lot of people who have them but just don't really run them because they're not cheap. But you guys know that I like to run my stuff. This canyon is definitely one I wanted to check out. And you can see why. It's an ugly pinch, but my car is fitting in the bottom, which is good in some spots and then kind of a pain in other ways. So like right here, we're gonna have to start climbing back up. And by the way, I'm sitting on top of like a big drop on a cliff, so I can't back up much more. So here we go. Got the front up through, do a front dig, pull that front all the way up. And so I'm gonna drive to where my feet are, and then we're gonna do a U-turn, because there's no other way to drop in from the bottom side and then climb up and out. A little too much binding. Oh, now we're in trouble. So we'll use the rears to push themselves up and over. Fronts are clawing. So rear servo's locked up. There it was. All right, not horrible. I got the line wrong, but it happens. So now let's see if we can get the U-turn done. Oh yeah, never even had to use dig. Sweet. So now I'm going to use it to get my front tires where I want. And that's where I want them. I really wish there was a way to drop in from a lower point and use this as part of a trail where like you had to climb through here. I'm liking this climb right here. Up at the top's a little boring just because you fit in the bottom. And most other things will too, just because this car is fairly wide with the Capra axles. There she goes. Tires just locked in the back. Oh, now the rear fell off on the way out. Well, we're in trouble. Well, this one certainly turned out to be more of a challenge than I kind of anticipated, which is good. I always like the tough spots out here. I definitely think it's possible. It's just tricky. The walls are very steep, and that makes balancing on them a lot harder. And then you've got a weird turn in the middle of it, and then there's little ledges and whatnot too. So the whole thing's fun. Okay, I got the front end through again. We're on the cage in the front, on the passenger side. My front tire's trapped down in there. So I don't need to try and turn away from the wall to get it out of the trap. But the rears need to stay up on the wall to hold the car upright. Right there, but I need them to go back on the other wall. Okay, a lot of binding. Definitely going to be hard on cars. But if you want it, you can get it. All right, we're not out of here yet. That's it, that's it. Sick. I like that big ledge on the passenger side. That's cool. Now I say that this area is like the last spot I could explore out here, but that's not true. There's definitely more little spots, but as far as like the big rock spines, this really is like one of the last ones that I've not run on yet. Okay, that obstacle's possible, in and out. This thing just panting in my ear. Come on. All right, I just got this climb off camera and then I realized, you know what, I'm gonna record it. So let's see if we can get back up it again, because it leads us over to one of the main spots that I really wanted to check out here. So if you guys are watching this far into the video, good for you, because you guys get to see the good stuff. Rear up. Oh, nice. Made it look way easier than the first time I did it. I struggled on it the first time. So this is kind of where I wanted to check out. And I don't know which direction I'm ultimately going to end up running this. I guess whichever direction is possible. So let's get this front end. Oh, we're losing it. Okay, we need to back up. That is a zip tie I forgot to trim, and it's touching my drive shafts, so that's what's making the noise. There's nothing actually wrong with the car, which I thought there was. So I'm glad that it's just something stupid like a little zip tie needs trimming. That's it. This is where the overdrive will save me. Nice. So here she goes. Dude, there are all these little flies out here today. I don't know if it's just because there's grass near this spot or what, but man, they keep landing in my ears and crawling on me. And they just itch. They're annoying little buggers. Watch out, dog. This show isn't about you, okay? Look out. So here we go, all flexed out, climbing up, staying balanced. Got a bug in my ear, damn it. Really cool crack, but if you can see that pocket down in there, we got to stay out of that for sure. So here's the car all crossed up. Need to get that rear back up. And I don't know where the front's gonna go. So like, let's take a little reverse here. Just wanted to get my rears more planted up there. My dog's looking for lizards or something. No, well, I ruined it. Sydney says it's too hot for this. Here we go. Attempt to. Yeah, let's try and get further up before we actually cross over. Oh yeah, that's much easier. Just this climb alone is sick. Might not have got that right. Ooh, boy, she saves it. She's gonna pull out of this. That was cool. I think this rear servo is getting sick of my shenanigans. I think she's on the way out. Which, it's been an awesome servo for a really long time, so. Maybe I do need to drop the front end in there. Yeah, this car is just too small for this spot. Because if I drop off, it's too vertical and it will not hang sideways like I'm looking at. So I am gonna write this off as impossible already, now that I actually have a car in here. Yep, that's kind of what's gonna happen. Well, I'm a little disappointed then. This may ultimately not turn out to be a trail. That little canyon that's an in and out is fun. It's challenging. But it's not perfect for a trail because it's in and out. Not that that really matters. I'll still show my buddies who want to try the hard stuff. Man, that barely hang out hood on right there. Well, I am happy to say that I think my dig unit is working better. I don't know if the servo mount just got loose in the Capra or something, but I also changed where it was bolted in this car. I actually had to dip the servo under the UC Fab dig mount instead of on top, which I don't know if that's originally how it was supposed to be, but that's how it is in this car. So I had to tweak that just a little bit because that rear bar behind like the driver's heads was coming in contact with the servo horn on the dig unit. So had to work that a little bit, but not a big deal. It just flipped right under it and it wasn't an issue. Didn't take much modifying. Well, we got ourselves in a pickle there, didn't we? There it goes, got the front up. Now we're on the belly. I think this car's belly height is a little lower than what my Tiger was. So I dragged the belly quite a bit. All right, got that one done. That was a cool one. So if you guys have questions on this build, I have a video of the full axial Capra breakdown. All the components are the same. I literally just put the silver cage on top. Speaking of the silver cage, I originally purchased this used, and it was a black anodized cage, and it had some scratches on it, and I thought it was painted. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll just strip the paint, no big deal, and then it'll look new again and it'll be silver. Well, it turns out it was anodized, but in my little monkey brain, I was like, well, I gotta take the anodizing off. And so I started down this road and ended up having to get some really wicked chemicals to strip that anodizing off and make it nice and clean like this. So yeah, it's now silver and it's de-anodized, so it's probably lost some surface hardness, but that's how it goes sometimes. But I'm liking the silver on silver. My transmission is a clear anodized as well from Vanquish. So the whole car without panels on it is just like raw aluminum, and it's pretty rad looking. I did the dark blue with the gunmetal stripe in it. So this is actually a paint job I wanted to do on the Capra for a while. I just never ended up getting around to it because like that Capra started off as just a Capra kit, and it was kind of just a silly thing like, oh yeah, I'll paint it tiger stripe. And then I never really changed it, but I always wanted it to look like more nice rather than tiger stripe. And so here we are, finally got my opportunity to repaint the car. All right guys, last obstacle. I've never done this one before, but it looks really good. So what we got to do is we got a side hill into this, and then we're gonna get balanced into a crack right ahead, but it's just two vertical walls. So we're gonna try and get on each side of these walls, get the car up in there and let it eat. So I actually got to burn the front down. Try not to let it fall off this ledge. Landed the nose perfect in there. The rear might be a trick to get up. So here's my thoughts before I try this. As my rear hits the wall, I'm gonna turn towards that rear. And it's gonna dip that front left. This car has a forward weight bias, so it should lift the weight off the rear, help it climb, turn back into the wall, and shoot on down the crack. Let's see how this goes. So keeping it balanced, a little less aggressive on the rear. Front's in the air. Using the rear steer to push the car back over, touch down on the wall, lighten up on the angle on the steering on everything. Working the front up, I'm in four-wheel drive still. Like a charm. Using the rear to push. Yes, yes. We got it, and I called the line to start too. That was cool. I'm serious, I never tried this before. I saw this the other day when I walked down in here for the first time, and I'm pretty stoked on that. Let's jump around front. I'm gonna throw a picture of this up on Instagram here in a second. Follow me, West Desert Wheeler, on Instagram. Epic. So we're just gonna cruise through. It's gonna get a pretty wicked side hill out. We're just gonna scrub along the side of the wall there. Staying on the wall all the way to the end. Keeping the front up to hold the rear up. Set it down, and we're out. All right, I'm betting that that's gonna end up being a pretty long video. I thank you guys so much for watching all of it. I greatly appreciate it. You can find links to help support my channel down below. I am going full-time on YouTube. Thank you to Sky RC for helping make this project possible. I really appreciate it, Cody. And yeah, get subscribed, drop a comment on what you think. We will see you guys in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.